Welcome back to DUBBZI Bricks for another episode of building the Tantive in Lego. And we're going to be starting off this update with a haul. I've had an order come in here from lego.com and this one has arrived so quickly. I only ordered the parts about just over a week ago, I think it was. So yeah, very impressed with the speed of the delivery on this one. And the majority of the parts in here are for the Tantive. So hopefully it's going to enable us to get a lot of progress made on the visuals of here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sort this out, check everything's in here, and then I'll show you what we've purchased. And here we have our order all sorted and all checked. And this time we have a couple of extra pieces. Last time it was short, this time it's over. So it all evens itself out. So all of the black parts in this order are for a future project I'm going to be building. So I'll start getting the pieces now, and I think I've got all the black parts I need for that build. So I've got some inverted slopes, some 1x2 bricks, some 2x3 and 3x3 plates, some 2x2 L-shaped bricks, 1x2 plates, 2x2s, a whole selection of plates here basically, some 1x4s, 2x's and all that, some 2x6 bricks, 2x2 bricks, 3x2, 4x2 bricks. The rest of the pieces colour-wise are for the Tantive. So these are for the escape pods. The two tiles there, they're going to be just for greebling. The 8x8 cut plates at the back there, they are for the side panels. At the moment, I've got grey on there, and I just want to put the white ones on just so there's no grey showing. These are for the escape pods on the top. Now, somebody is sending me some of these from the Grogu Pram. I mentioned that in my last video. However, I needed more for these, so I'd already ordered these anyway, so that's good. The extra ones are going to be used, no problem on that side. We've got some tiles here in 2x3, 2x4 and 2x6 and 1x6, and they're for the side panels of the side of the ship. Some 1x4 plates as I was getting low on those. The 2x1 cylinders there, the Technic connectors, whatever you want to class them as, they are going to be for the cannons on the top of the escape pods. Some more brackets, a random minifigure hood. Just wanted that from a collection. This part here is for the locking mechanism on the escape pod doors. Some more brackets. Some normal 2x1 45-degree slope, 1x3 plates, 1x1, 1x2 tiles, a couple of snot bricks, some more snot bricks, and some more snot bricks. Some of these slopes here, these are quite expensive. I think it's about 46 cents each. I needed a whole load of those for the build. These are for the escape pod, the half circles. Some 2x4, 2x6, 2x8, 2x12, 1x6 and 1x8 dark red plate, again for the sides. The slopes there, the wedge pieces, they are for the escape pods, some 1x1 plates. These parts here need for the, I think it's the escape pod again. There was part that I was not getting the finish on that I wanted, so I thought I'd just try those. The 4 tiles there in silver are for the seats inside one of the escape pods. And then finally some black tiles in 1x4. So yeah, there's another order coming. I seem to be placing more and more orders at the moment for the Tantive. Hopefully this is going to last us a fair while. And this is the section that we are going to be working on, first of all, in this update. And I think the best thing for me to do is start on the bottom. That's going to enable me to work on the panels that go on the side here. Now, these are quite interesting panels. They're wider at the back here, and they stick out further. As you get more towards the centre here, it shrinks and gets closer to the vessel, and then it starts coming back out again and getting wider as you get to the cockpit. Now, with these panels, I want to have them brick built if possible. I want them to be as sturdy as possible. Reason being, the opposite side of the ship, we are potentially going to have a removable one. So the last thing I want is for that to be breaking or altering its shape when I'm taking it off at conventions. With these panels here, there's so much movement available to them due to the ball joints. It's not the ideal technique for a removable panel. Now, in your last update, there were numerous comments about these panels where people were saying they weren't the same. One was higher than the other, or there was this problem or that problem, or it didn't look right here or there. Now, these two have been made in exactly the same technique. They're just mirror images of each other. There's so many different ways you can bend the ball joints behind here, that's the reason they don't look the same at the moment. I knock them so much. There's no point in me aligning them perfectly at this moment in time. I could spend half an hour doing so, start working one up a bit, knock it, and then I've got to redo it all again. So I'm better off just leaving it until I need them to be aligned perfectly. I know they line up perfectly when I need it to, so I know I can manipulate it into the right shape. So apologies for those whose OCD is messing with a little bit, but rest assured it will look good at the end. Now, one other thing I do need to check is this section just here. At the moment, I feel like it looks a little bit small. Now, I did measure it to the blueprints and it is to scale to the rest of the ship. So I just need to double check that. I'm not sure whether this bit's come out a little bit wider than I initially thought, and that's messing with the visual of it. But yeah, we'll double check that before we go too much further, as that part there obviously goes onto the end here, and I need to make sure that it does all line up perfectly. So without further ado, let's get the bricks, plates and tiles out and let's get started. And here we have the blueprints and our ruler, and we've been measuring all of the different angles on how long each part needs to be. We then converted it from millimeters into studs, and now it's a case of transforming it into the bricks. And at the moment, this lower section here is not in the right place. It's too low down. Now, it's going to be very easy to amend it, as what's happening is we've got some bricks in between these Technic beams here and the ones above, and then the lift arms compress it all together. So all I need to do is pop the lift arm off, remove the bricks, take the Technic beams off the bottom, and then put it to the correct size where it actually needs to be. So that's the first thing that we need to do. Now, the slope that we're working on first of all is one that comes up from the back here. That one is a square slope, the same as we have at the top here. And then the one that's further forward is a curved one that comes out, the same as what the side panels are on here. So that's the one that's going to be really tricky to do as well. And the fun and games is really happening here with this build. I managed to get rid of the Technic work at the back there, which is absolutely fine. These two lift arms are actually built into the ship to the extent I cannot get rid of them. And so they're actually attached to the Technic bricks just here, which has got all of this built on top of it. So if I was to try and get those out, then I would actually have to dismantle the entire top half of the ship, which isn't going to happen. I was just talking to Mixer Bricks on the phone. I was saying to him, I'm so tempted just to get a saw out and just saw them in half. But don't worry, people, I will never destroy my Lego. So yeah, I think I'm actually okay. When I've put this slope that's coming on here, I think it's just about going to clear it, so that's all okay. Now with the panels here, this is one version which I've got, which looks like it's not quite steep enough, and there's this one here, which originally I thought it doesn't look right. It's not going close enough to there. Just remeasured everything. It's actually supposed to start around about here. I think it's about here. So once I do put that in place, I think that is going to be the right angle. And what I've been doing with the blueprints here is this is the part that I'm looking at. I'm actually putting the slope onto the blueprints here, and as you can see, it's pretty much the right angle for that. Whereas if I use this one here, as you can see, it's not quite the right angle. So yeah, this is definitely the right piece that we need to use. Just need to make sure that I get it in the right position for it, and then fingers crossed that lift arm is not going to be in the way. I've decided to play it safe with the display stand on here and give this cockpit area an additional support. It wasn't as bad as I was thinking it was going to be. It's still got plenty of strength in there, but yeah, there is a risk always. And I've just measured it to see how much it's leaning forward at the moment. So I've got this Technic bar here, and if I rest it on the plates at the bottom and put it in there, as you can see there, the tan plate at the very top there is at the bottom of the Technic bar. Now if I come to the front here, as you can see there now, it's actually about one plate out. So that's how much is leaning forward at the moment. So what I've done, I've made up this new Technic structure here. So I'm going to place that in the front here, just wedge it in, and then that, fingers crossed, will give it all of the support that it's going to need. So let's put that in place now, just to be on the safe side. And there we have it. So that was leaning forward a lot more than I realised. So yeah, glad we've gone ahead and put that all in place. The Technic beams down the side here are giving it the strength, so hopefully that's going to be okay on that side of it. It's obviously, as you can see, I've not connected it to the base here at all, or the top there. So I just need to remember not to use this for when picking it up, just purely that one at the back. I might see if there is a way of actually connecting these two together as well, just to give it that little bit extra. I think there might be. I could possibly put a Technic lift arm from this point on the outside here to the inside of that one, just there. There is room for me to get that in there, so that might be worthwhile doing, and the same on the other side. So yeah, I think I can actually attach that to the top, but the bottom we won't be able to do so. And it doesn't matter what I do here, this is in the way. So I need to get rid of the two lift arms here and the two Technic bricks. As soon as the lift arm's out of the way, then that's all fine. These come off very easily. Now from the top here, I believe this Technic brick here I put in just purely so I had something to attach the tiles to, so they didn't pop through if I put any pressure on that side. So I've got a feeling that one might come out quite easily. The lift arm is not connected to that Technic brick just there. So as soon as that's out of the way, I will be able to lever it that way and pop that one out. Other side, I'm not so sure of, but yeah, we'll have a little bit of a play, see what happens. If the worst comes to worst, I'm just going to have to take this entire section off to get down to it. If I'm very careful, I should be able to peel it off in sections, and that's what I have to do basically. There's no getting around it. The arms are in the way there, so we have got to do something about it, and I don't want to destroy some bricks unnecessarily. And that's the first one out, and it was as I thought. Where this was put in last is only connected by, I think it's just one Technic pin. So now that we've got that out, I can now work on the other side. And looking from here, it looks like there's a brick there. So I'm hoping that I put the brick in afterwards, again, just to stop the lift arm from moving from side to side. So let's have a look from underneath, and hopefully we'll get that one sorted as well. And it'll be just as easy as this side. And there we have it. The problem has been solved, and it was, as I thought, it was just connected or kept in place by a brick on the other side. So that is a relief to have that all out of the way now, so we can get the hull of the ship all going under there nice and smoothly. I'm not worried about it hitting this part here. That's part of the display stand. I knew I was going to have to build around that. But yeah, that was a relief. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it actually was. So, but job done. Let's get back to working on the hull. And I thought I'd just show you this angle here. I've rotated the ship around 180 degrees. I want to make sure that everything is exactly where it needs to be. And I was struggling to do it where the two sections weren't together. And where I thought this was correct, it turns out it's a little bit too low at the moment. So that needs to come up. Also, the greebling there, I think, is too low. I need to amend that as well. So all these little things are just causing me a couple of little problems at the moment. And also, since I've rotated this round, that curved section on the top, which I said previously I thought was too small, is actually now starting to look the right size. So again, it's interesting seeing it change like it is at the moment. And we put the tiles on the edge of the top panel here, and we've actually attached the one below. Now this did take quite a while to get attached, trying to get the connection points all correct on there. I had to put a few bits of additional strength into it, but we've got there eventually. And as you can see, there are some multicolored Technic beams there, which is going to help us to connect the escape pods that are going to be sticking out. As remember, on this side, the escape pods are not going to be removable. And I just need to get some more dark red tiles to go along the bottom of this part here. But it's really nice seeing another panel covering up part of the structure of the vessel. And I can't wait to get all of the greebling put on here, as well as those escape pods as well. And here we have the start of the curved slope. And I think I'm on the right track with this piece here. There's numerous hinge pieces on the back there, and I'm using the curved slopes to help keep the hinges attached to all those plates on there. And then this bit here, it does feel really strong. I mean, I put a bit of pressure with my finger there and it's not popping off. Now, the good thing with building it like this is I'm confident I could put this on a removable panel on the other side and it would come off in one piece and won't have any problems. So this would just clip onto the wall just here. Now obviously this starts coming out here and getting wider, so I wouldn't be able to necessarily use this same technique on here, but at least I feel like I'm on the right track with this. So I'm now going to just build the opposite part of this to go on the bottom there where my thumb is, attach it to the side of the ship, and then I'm going to start thinking about how we're going to come across to the front of the cockpit section just there. Here we have the side panel attached to the vessel, and I'm loving the technique. It's working perfectly, and I'm pretty confident that when it comes to doing the opposite side on the removable panel, that this is going to work. The one thing at the moment though is I feel like it's just a fraction too big. It's not by much, probably about 2 bricks in height. So I'm going to start experimenting with different curved slopes and just see if I can make it that little bit smaller. I was at one stage thinking the Technic beams were going to be getting in the way. However, there's the slope that comes down on this part just here, which this part goes up to, and then this part starts getting bigger as it goes along, the curved bit. So yeah, hopefully we won't have to make any further modifications to the Technic structure just there. So let's get those curved slopes out and see if we can make an improvement on this panel. And here we have the panel on the side of the vessel now, and really happy with how this version's come out. I think it's a lot better than the previous one. And as you would have seen in the timeline, so I did make a second one up, and that's all ready for the other side. I thought it was best to make it now whilst I can see how I've made it, because knowing me, by the time I get around to making the other side, I will have forgotten, and then I have to start stripping this off. So yeah, just thought that was the best way forward. Now I think I will need to move this up this way by about 2 or 3 studs, but I just wanted to see how it looked on there. So that's all good. One thing I am thinking I am going to need to change though are these Technic bricks at the bottom here. They are in the way, so I want to have that, they need to be white, so I need to change those over. So hopefully, because there's nothing below this here, I should be able to get them off with very little disruption to the actual vessel itself. So let's start doing that part next, and then once we've done that, I can then put the reverse slope of this underneath. And the Technic bricks came off so easily due to the fact that they were just plated together, so there was no Technic pins holding the two sections together. It was just a case of just pulling them off and then disconnecting them just down here. Now what I'm going to be doing is when I put the snot bricks on here, which are going to help to hold the panel up the top here, I want to somehow try and connect a Technic brick to the bottom of it, then put a Technic beam on the behind here from this part here going up into the framework above. That way, that will help keep all of that attached to the actual fuselage itself. And over time, the weight of it's not going to make it want to drop off. So that's the plan. Fingers crossed it's going to be straightforward. I can't see no reason why not. It's a simple technique. As long as there's 4 bricks between each Technic brick, or I think it's 2 bricks and 1 plate or something like that, then it will work absolutely fine. So let's start getting those snot bricks all in place. Then once I've done so, we can then attach the panels onto the side. And I thought I'd just show you the contraption that's going to be holding everything together. So we've got the Technic brick at the very top here, a 2x1 Technic brick at the bottom, and a lift arm compressing everything in between it together. We've got another Technic brick here just to give it some additional strength as well. The plates are going all the way through. That way everything is, yeah, just nice and solid basically. So we've got 2 Technic pins here. They are going to be connected underneath the ship to this Technic part just here. We'll do some more connections from this part here. So when that's hanging from it, the Technic pins either side are going to stop it from falling away from the vessel. So let's get that all attached to there, and then we can finally get the slopes added to the bottom. And I'm absolutely loving this build. There's always a challenge with every single part of this build that I've done so far. Nothing's been straightforward, and it's been brilliant. And the problem I've got now is I feel like there's not as much strength in here as there was previously. And that's ever since I removed this second row of Technic bricks that were going all the way along. We're now down to just one single skin. And I'm really worried that once I've got all of the weight on here, it's going to start pulling it apart from the top section. So what I'm going to do now is just strengthen up this whole structure in here. I'm going to put a lot more Technic in, connect it also to this top part as well. And then fingers crossed, that's going to do the trick and keep everything as it should be. There's definitely a solution to this, and it's now's the time to do it. I don't want to build this all up and then in about a week's time notice half it's started to sag down and bricks are coming apart. I've already noticed that this part here, I've had to push it back together about 3 times in the last 20 minutes. So yeah, there is a little bit of a structural issue there at the moment. One other thing I'm considering doing as well is actually putting some Technic axles coming through this way. So they stick out only by about 2 studs. And then what I will do is I'll make it so they slide into the next section there. That way, when it's at a convention, if there's ever any problem with the table, I know that it is still lined up properly and that the 2 sections are together. So anyway, let's get the Technic bricks out and let's start strengthening that back up, and then we can put the panels back on the side. And there's the next part of the panelling in place, and I'm not happy with this part here. I was trying to fill the gap, and I've had to use a bracket as well as a tile, and it just sticks out a little bit, so it's not perfect. I could potentially bring the greebling up there. That would probably hide it, please. I might do that on that one, but you still show it at the bottom. But again, in the scheme of things, one little plate sticking out like that, I don't think it's going to be that bad. Now on this section here, I did try attaching it using these hinge pieces here. However, it was just too heavy and it was wanting to drop off. So I've gone over to using 3 of these, and that seems to be working a little bit better. Now, I was intending on using a lot of these throughout the ship, and so far I've used barely any due to you're restricted to what positions you can put them in. But what I am going to have to do, I'm going to have to find some way of attaching this to that section as well. So what I might do, I might take one of the bricks out that's on the back here and bring some plates out, and then hopefully I'll be able to find a way of attaching it to that, possibly using a ball joint or a couple of ball joints, anything that's going to help to take the weight. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to make another one of these up, or 2 of these up, one for the top and one for the bottom, start attaching them to it, and that just give it a little bit more shape. And then it's going to give me an idea of the really tough part, which is going to be how we then connect it to this section, because it's going up as well as coming out this way. So yeah, it's going to be an awkward shape to replicate. And I'm hoping that this is going to do the trick here. So I've added a couple of Technic bricks into the wall here. Got a plate on the bottom of this Technic brick just here, and then a couple of plates and the tile, and that's so that the bottom of this part here actually rests on top of the tile, so it's going to help take the weight of that. Now on the bottom of the plate I put another Technic brick, and that's just keep this plate from dropping off. And then inside the Technic we've got a couple of lift arms, so it's keeping it all compressed together, clipped together, and hopefully that's going to be strong enough for that. If I can find any other connection points, I'll do so, because at the moment it's only going to be kept on by those couple of hinges there. So I am a little bit concerned about the strength of that side of things, but I'm hoping it's not going to be too heavy. I mean, this part here is not massively heavy, and it's going to be just a little bit bigger than that, but we'll soon find out. The good thing is, as we go up, I can add more connection points coming out. On the bottom here we've got Technic pins. Again, I could potentially do more out of that, but let's put the beam back across here and then start on the curved part above it. And we're going to have to go back to the drawing board with the next section of this. This bit's absolutely fine, but I'm not happy with how this is going. I don't think it's going to work how I thought it was. Just get my head around all these angles. Really can get confusing at times, but hey-ho, these things happen. At the moment, this is offset by half a stud, and how we've gone about doing that is putting jumper plates onto the connection point at the back, which then allows me to do so. But what I'm thinking is probably going to be the best thing to do, and I'll need to build this section up a little bit more first, is actually have this one so that it's going up like so. Then what I'll do is I'll fill the gap in the middle of the 2 pieces. And I think then that will give me the shape that I'm actually after. And at least I know then exactly what I need to be covering up. As I was going along here, there was just too many ugly holes on there. So yeah, we will get there eventually, I'm sure. And I knew this was going to be the most time consuming part of the build. But progress is being made slowly but surely. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, if you give us a big thumbs up, if you watch on your mobile, if you could hit the hype button, that'd be much appreciated. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building the Tantive and Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping by. Till next time, bye for now.